Hello everybody, welcome back to another episode of our 4th Age Total War Tharbad campaign. In the last one, we somewhat accidentally captured Fornost. It wasn't really the plan for that episode, but I'm glad we've got that under our belt. This effectively splits Adunabar into, well, they technically own the north, I guess, so they probably have a border here that they share. But regardless, it does project our power in an annoying way, let's say. And we're looking to continue that annoying projection here. Let's see, I don't think I want that Merc, but let's, what we're going to do is ignore Rivendell. We're going to move right into the wilderness here. I just want to send a scout ahead to check for ambushes. And we're going to move right over to Lastbridge. Alright, and we've got a couple of archers here to grab. We may as well grab those if you think you're going to use them at all, because the mercenary pool refreshes over time. I can't remember what the mechanic is. If it's a random thing, if it's sort of fixed and it's so many number of turns. But regardless, it seems to make sense to grab the mercenaries as soon as you see them, especially if they're cheap like this. The upkeep's only 90 per unit, and we're making a pretty good income right now. We're projected to make almost 9,000 just this turn, so that's great. And I think once we capture Lastbridge, that's going to cement us essentially in the north, because Adunabar will only have Tardal, Edendale, and Anuminas. Now, Anuminas is a good settlement to have, but as we saw last time, the population is so low here that they can't even make use of it in terms of training, at least for some time. Over here, the population is no doubt better, but the reason I'm leaving Rivendell, and I should have checked the population there, but I think the population is pretty low in Rivendell. It starts off very low as a very recently elven settlement, and even if they do decide to threaten me down here, I think we've got enough in the area to quickly assemble and address it. Now, I am noticing, however, that Swanfleet does lack walls. So I think what I want to do this turn is queue up the rural province. This is going to allow us to do things like, well, not build a wall, but it'll allow us to build the next level, which will allow us to build a wall. That's all we need to do. Just this, then that, and then some walls, which I always like to have. They do cost money, like sort of a regular land tax upkeep cost, but it seems worth it to avoid those surprise attacks that might happen. So we just need to keep our eyes open. Maybe if I've got a spare governor, send him... Tell you what. We've got so much money. We were going to take this guy, I think the competent governor. Yeah, he's somewhat learned. He's a skilled fighter. We were going to send him over to Lastbridge anyway to be the sort of governor there. So I think what we'll do is let's get a... Do I have a handy scout? I don't have one in Bree. In 3 ways. Okay, so I'm going to train another scout in Tharbad. I'm going to send him over here, and then we're going to set up a watchtower. Just because I know it's not going to be relevant for too much longer, but if we have a watchtower like here, that'll be able to keep eyes on this as well as this, so that we can see if something is sneaking down through the woods towards us. Oh, I could have just used this guy. Okay, let's do that. Cancel the scout, and let's bring this guy down from the north. And all we're doing is making sure that there are no nearby enemies. Okay. Army and gambling. Okay, there's an archer, but you know what? I think I'm going to hold off for once. We're going to go there, and I'll just get him next turn. In Fornost, we are still waiting for Fiefdom Dominion. Here in Bree, we finished it. So that is officially under our belt. And in Ridmallen, we also finished it. So we've made a lot of progress. That's probably why our income is looking so good. And that means we could afford to spend a little more, actually. And I think I may want to do it down here. Otherwise, I'll just keep forgetting. And this guy is an inspired governor. He's one of the old guard. He was the first governor down here. Had him since the beginning of the campaign. And he's seasoned now, so we won't have him for too much longer. So let's see. Rhodes doesn't feel super useful down here. Let's see what it actually would do. It's going to improve trade a little bit, and it's going to have a little bit of upkeep. You know, I just don't see it as all that useful given the size of the province. Rhodes, I tend to favor if there's like a long distance and it's annoying to shuttle troops around. But here we've got the ship. So I could go for tillage, but I think it might be better to get into this, considering the cost is similar. Provincial councils are going to give us extra land tax. Really, almost always, this is one of your best options. The alignment buildings that are proper to your faction. It's going to increase that land tax. It's going to increase income tax, and it's going to improve the experience of local recruits. So right now we've got the town councils, which is like the first tier. That's a +1 to XP. This is going to give us a +2. And then population growth, I think. No, that's going to stay the same. But we are going to see land tax increase, and it's just a good move, right? So as we keep, having more money, we can keep affording to increase that. And that'll mean that these troops we train out of here, which will be potentially relevant relatively soon, these will be good. So we won't have to really focus on Tharbad as like the main training center. Since we've got Bree, let's do a little bit more upkeep here, because I think we do want to invest in the old pipeweed around here. So let's go with the Estates and Farmlands Charter. That's going to allow us to build some industry buildings that will be specific to that. Okay, I think with that we're probably good. Fornost itself, let's see, we've got a scout there. We've got a lot of archers. Again, we just have to wait until this is built before we can start to, kind of reinforce it. But I think we'll just have everything wait there. Now, what is this? Okay, so it's probably kind of more of the same. We're probably going to be sending these guys down to just chase off that army in a turn or two. Okay, they're gathering. Alright, I guess that's good. I'd rather have them gather up here. But we'll keep an eye on these types of things. This is the type of thing that can sneak up on you. And this one in particular is not a threat at all. Again, these are Ryador Spearmen, not too scary. But the Orc Champions, if this were to combine with a unit of Trolls, with another, force of Uruks that might have been sent up north a long time ago, it can be a problem. So we want to keep our eyes open to see what's gathering. And it's a lot of, just basic infantry. So I think that's fine. All right, we've got our Estates and Farmlands in Bree. And let's just check our governor here. I think he's attuned by now. Yes, indeed. And how does he feel about his liege? He's dubious, but I guess that's, par for the course. This is an Aorling. He's like one of the Rohirrim, essentially. And so he's not going to feel too great about the Gondorians who are hanging out. So for this, we could go immediately for Curers. This is the only industry option we get here because this is the only resource. But it is quite a doozy. So let's see what that will do. 1785 to 1886, so that's 100 income per turn. It's going to increase admin by a little bit. It's going to have some upkeep, but only 18. It's going to increase management by a tiny bit as well. This is well worth it. So we'll do that. And then after that, we'll do the consultation, I think, which is going to help law everywhere. All right, so 4,500 to spend. I'm going to blow about half of that on this watchtower here. All right, and that's enough, I think. Between the spies we've got moving around, just keeping an eye on things, and this spy here, I think we're going to be fine. In fact, I might just move him over here just for the sake of ambushes. Let's actually go through all these tiles. Okay, there's nothing there. So we're going to get right... Oh, okay. We've got a unit of Grim Spears here, so I actually have to swat this unit away. Alright, spears and bows. So we're going to get here. We're not going to get actually able to besiege the settlement, sadly. We'll get the spy up, and I want to see what's going on here. We are at war with these rebels. It looks like it's still rebels, so no change, effectively. Great news. Probably what's going to happen is the Bjornings will eventually take this, unless they are under a lot of pressure from Adunabar in the south, or maybe Dale. But yeah, a couple of turns, we'll grab that. You can go back to 3 ways for now, I guess. And should we consider some more training? I think it might be a good idea. Alright, so we've got a bunch of archers here. Let's go with Another cav unit. Let's actually queue up a couple of these. In 3 ways, there's not too much. We could go for mustering fields here, but I don't see much point. Let's save our money. Ridmallen, though. You know, I think I may want to invest in Ridmallen. Why not? It's another rural province which will allow us to actually do stuff. And in Sarnford, we've already got the rural province built, so we could start going, you know, trader and so on. You know, it might be a reasonable choice to upgrade Sarnford. We're getting to the point where we've got almost 1,000 people here. Might be nice to have a few more, but again, I kind of want to prioritize the places where I actually have governors. Ridmallen seems like it's worth it though, because it's probably never going to have a governor, if I'm honest. We'll be far too busy doing other things. All right, let's just get an eye on the south here. Okay, so yeah, Rohan is down there. They're not besieging Dunkriok. Dunland still owns Dunfrecka. And in fact, Dunland seems to be pushing back. Okay. Yes, Bree is under siege. I'm not too concerned, but we've got our rural province in Swanfleet. One of our scouts in Tharbad, and Dale and Rune at war. That's not unexpected at all. So minor province is 8,000. We could save quite a bit of money if we put a governor in there, but what is this, a homeland? Yeah, let's just get building. The costs are going to be, I think, relatively cheap there compared to, you know, compared to other places like fiefdoms. Let's see, what are the odds of us actually getting in here? Now they've got Swords of the Shadow.
At your service.
Let's see. Did we just get killed? Yeah, that's BS. Okay, here we go. 24% chance of immediate assault. I don't know that I necessarily want to do that. And we can anyway. So let's get our 5 rams and wait a turn. We may be attacked anyway. But if not, I'm going to go for it. Because I want to grab that as soon as I can. Okay, for Bree... Let's see. We actually have, you know, some people in Bree, but it's... Man, I should have been retraining these guys. Wow. All of these units could have been retrained. Every single one of them. So what do we have here? We've got 3 units of just swords. I'm going to just go ahead and just send this pathetic army out. We are about even in terms of numbers. And I've got a bodyguard here, you know, a family member unit who's going to be probably doing a lot of the heavy lifting. But this will save me having to shuttle troops down from Fornost, which I don't want to invite an attack there because we're just a couple of turns away from getting the fiefdom dominion. At least I think it's fiefdom, not outlands. But once we get that done, I can think what I want to do with that army. And, you know, Enumenas might be a good move, actually. I think it's close enough to Fornost that we might be able to reach it in a single turn. We can get it before Adunabar starts doing anything too threatening with it. And this is just everybody, so we'll just get him here. Yeah, so if we get a Numenas, we can kind of just sit there with it and not worry, because I don't think it's going to be under threat from any other factions. Adunabar will own land to the north of it, but Fornost might be more likely to come under attack, so we might be able to just get a Numenas effectively for free. Just in terms of, you know, having to garrison it. It might not be a concern. So let's get you on fire at will, and okay, we've got archers. Let's just get them all together. We'll go there. And I guess that's everybody else. So you can all get in a line just behind the archers. It's not going to be too fancy. We'll start firing. They'll take some losses, maybe, and come after us. And then we will get in with the infantry, but we don't have a lot of infantry, actually, so we'll have to skirmish a bit. Alright, are we doing anything? I know it's raining. I think that hurts, hurts our odds. Okay. We did get a kill. So, I'm gonna split the guys up. Alright, if they keep turning against those guys, I'll just give a better target for these guys. But we're actually running out of ammo, unfortunately. Alright, maybe they're going to call our bluff, and we're going to have to actually fight with them. This is okay, though. We get these guys down by a few, and yeah, they're going to go off and chase my archers. Great. Turn to the back, so we're doing more damage. We're going to lose probably all these archers, or axemen, rather. Alright, great. I'm not going to bother chasing routers here. We are going to need to use our archers for melee duty, I think. Yeah, we can chase him down with bowmen. Alright, you guys can come up here. If you want to go after my bowmen, then I'll go after your general with my infantry. Okay, let's actually... Let's take you and you, let the smallest number of guys, and I've not been paying attention. Alright, let's actually hold off on the archers here. What's the Spears of the Bridge losing? Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Run back. Yep, we've got, you know, basically swords versus spears. That's going to be pretty good for the swords. Let's get our own swordsman in. Losing slightly, 34 versus 62. So, I mean, you know, the numbers are, of course, with them. I think we should do pretty well, though, given that this is a bodyguard unit. This is a tier 2 infantry, and we're about to follow it up with some support here in the form of our light archers. Here, yeah, okay, they're losing slightly now. And in fact, we still got these axemen of Tharbad. I thought they were going to be completely wiped out by now, but I don't think we've lost one. Again, a great little unit. Okay, I'm not worried about that at all anymore. Here, I'm a little concerned. There's our... No, that's their governor or general. Where's ours? Okay, yes, this guy. So, I mean, you know, theoretically, depending on his traits, he could get killed. But if we can take care of this Dark Sword guy, I feel pretty good about his odds of survival. Let's see, 50 men... I'd still like to see that change a bit. Great. So now he's kind of isolated from the bulk of the fighting here. And what do we have here? 35 versus, well, whatever this mob is. Oh, now down to 32. They lost quite a few there. We got our pikemen in here. We've got the Mariner swordsmen probably doing a lot of the heavy lifting, honestly. They're still pretty good in terms of numbers. And we still have 2 of the axemen of Tharbad here. There goes a Spear of the Bridge.
The enemy general is running away.
All right.
This is no way for a leader
Awesome.
to behave, but in battle, it's beyond.
All right, I forgot to add this last tiny amount of archers to the fight, but I think here, 29 men, I think they're going to give up pretty soon. Let's get our own bodyguard down here to help. And we'll just chase down the general, catch him if possible. Yeah, let's finish this. Okay. Can we get him? I think there's just one guy left. Alright, we're going to catch up to him. Come on. There we go. And that's the end of that. So we lost about 30 men, which is a devastating Pyrrhic victory for how small the armies were. But I think, again, worth it to get rid of that little army without having to shift guys from the north too much. That also means, you know, I'm wondering if we're going to get hit again, though, in the Lastbridge theater. Right, like what I'm hoping is any units around here are not going to try to support Lastbridge, but are going to try again to attack Bree or Fornost. Either one would be fine. But yes, now we can continue developing our curers, and I think that's it. So let's just end the season. All right, another attack at Bree, and an attack at Lastbridge. Shoot. All right. Well, we're going to do the typical thing because I'm a little concerned how this one's going to go. We've got one cav unit, and what that means is we have the potential to eliminate both of these armies in the field. And if we do that, we would get the city, right? Well, the problem with doing that is that sometimes when you are, you know, playing like me and recording and you don't have the best system and, you know, OBS hogs up probably a lot of resources or something, sometimes that can lead to a crash. It's always very disappointing, of course, especially when you're in the midst of recording. But we'll see how this one goes. You know, I'd love to get the city here, but I'm a little worried. One thing you can do if you're really concerned about that is try not to get the city. In other words, try to rout the enemy, but leave enough of them alive so that they won't be eliminated on the campaign map. So we've got lots of, you know, mercs and archers and things. Let's get these Dunlending mercs out front. I think their force is going to be pretty much infantry. I don't remember cav. Ugh, and I'm not a fan of this. But you know what? I think if we just set everybody up here, and then we'll just run for this high ground.
More men.
All right. Get the axemen running down there. Oh, they do have a family member here. Well, we should send the axemen this way then. And then make sure we've got pikes or whatever facing down there. We don't have pikes, but we do have spears of the bridge. We've got swordsmen. And we'll just kind of be defensive with our infantry. Yeah, there it's a lot of dark swords, but we do have some swords of the shadow. One of the more intimidating units of Adunabar, a cultic roster, and they get a couple of bowmen. Alright, but that's why it's good to have these javelins, because, you know, they can thin out the ranks. Okay, they're going for my Tharbad militia, which is, I guess, a fair game. Try to charge them down with my cavalry. And let's see. Yeah, I'll get the general over here too. I'd like to break the swords of the shadow. Alright. As soon as they're all done shifting around, which you can't always watch the little movement icons down here, because as you can see, they still have some shifting around to do. But here, as long as my own men don't screw things up too bad, we are going to have a nice charge. 62, 55, 50, 49, 47. That's pretty decent. We're getting some routing, though, on those mercenaries who got caught. Let's pull the cav back. They're going to take heavy losses because the Grim Spears are going to move in. But let's get the family member involved. And what's this? That's Dark Swords, and there's the family member on their end. We've got our Mariner Swordsman just hanging out here, which is a little frustrating. They weren't, you know, fighting that guy. Okay. Let's get Spears of the Bridge, and let's just break it up. I hate having to peel away like a perfectly ordered line. It's not perfectly ordered, but it was a nice line. But because of the way the enemy was attacking me, I need to move it around. So it feels a little disappointing. Okay, these are my swordsmen. Let's hit the Dark Swords. These are my Spears of the Bridge. Let's try to hit their family member. And are we good for another charge? Looks like we're not moving, so let's go. Yeah, we were at 50-some units, 50-some men. And we might be in some trouble here because somehow they teleported these horses around, you know, to the back or whatever of my units. It's kind of ridiculous, but we are going to, I think, kill their captain here pretty quick. You know, that is the thing. We took like one loss on that charge. They were 35, now they're 34. So, you know, I see people talking trash about my merchant scouts all the time, but you do really have to use them right. You know, you got to just be careful with them. You got to use them for hard strikes, and hope it all works out. Now, given how I'm speaking so confidently here, what the game is going to do is it's going to throw a crash my way. So I'm feeling like I always am, like going for it, you know? Like, let's just go ahead and try to win the city here. Dark bows are throwing in against my Mariner swords, but we're in shield wall, and so that makes us very dense. Even though we're getting attacked from the rear.
Please, press forward so the spirit of his army is broken too.
Alright, so we're attacking those dark bows. Now everyone's engaged, so now I can take my horses around to, you know, do whatever. Probably try to hit these guys from the back, because I think they'll be the only ones left. Or we could just go after the dark swords. But let's try to win this fight here first. It might be a little close for a good charge. We'll see. Yeah, I think we're just going to shoot him down. All right, so stop moving. Maybe they'll even lower their lances because they're close enough. Yep. And 30 men wavering. Okay. Yeah, continue battle. So they put their spears back up because these guys were routing. So it changed from a, you know, a charge to just a pursuit. They were too far to put their swords down in pursuit, apparently. All right, so that's that. We've got a couple of guys left. They just got deleted by our archers. That was a nice little victory. The Tharbad militia, poor guys, down to 25 men. That was a full unit, I think. And we lost, you know, 150 or so. Is that right? Something like that. We got some recoveries, evidently, and we wiped out both of those forces with some pretty decent units involved. So let's go. Let's see how this works. The real challenge for me is not getting back to the campaign map necessarily from the loading screen, but it's clicking the Occupy, Enslave, or Exterminate button. And that'll be the point where we find out if it's going to crash or if it's going to behave. So there's Lastbridge, and it's empty, so we're going to get it. All right, and it's our next turn. Lastbridge, there's not that many people there. There's 1,100 that we would be killing or casting out, so let's just occupy. Oh my gosh. See, I talk it up a lot, and now the game is not going to perform for you. Good. Maybe that's the secret. So we've got Temples of the Shadow here, which you'll notice do nothing for us. There's no reason for us to keep them here, and we're going to get a lot of money for them, 4,000. So this is, you know, usually a good move. Not always, but in this case it is, because even with eliminating those temples, you can see that there's a lot of cultic effects going on due to buildings in this province. And a lot of that is going to be the Ariador Outlands. That's 75% right there, Ways of the Shadow Cult. So if we want to make this not cultic, what we're going to have to do, excuse me, what we'll have to do is build up our the law keepers, those alignment buildings like this. Yeah, the town councils. That's going to add 25 to the 25 that this already provides. That'll bring us up to 50. And then I think with the next tier of this alignment building, that'll get it over 75, which is risky, actually, because as you can see, the breakdown is 100% cultists here. So if this province flips its official alignment, which is currently cultic, if that becomes Ways of the West, which it would be if we have more building percentages going to the Ways of the West. Now it's only 25. As soon as the buildings down here for Ways of the West get above 75 and above this will flip to Ways of the West. And then we'll be in for some public disorder, because this 100% is going to show up here as a debuff, you know, along with all these other things. So 125, let's see what low taxes looks like, 155. So imagine if we like lost 100% public order now. We can't do any more garrisons, right? Garrisons are already providing their maximum, which is 80%. So we can't add any more men to sort of help this out. We could get a different governor here. We can't do anything currently about our faction leader's alignment. But we could get a different governor. That's only going to provide 5%. You know, and in fact, we will get a different governor. And he might be better, actually. Because this guy is a poor governor, so that's going to hurt public order. Well, actually, no, not yet. In fact, generous is helping. And warm-hearted. But he's got some law penalties. It's a mixed bag. Let's go ahead and just build a scout anyway. We've got one currently here. I guess I can get him out now. And we can have him... Well, okay, we're going to have a spy here. And we can train them whenever we want. So I think it's more important for me to know what's going on here. This is the new sort of center of power for Adunabar, such as it is, these provinces. And, you know, maybe up here. But we'll just keep our guys focusing on this territory. But check this out. Is this Lossoff?
Your Honor, secrecy is assured.
Yes! Oh, that's awesome. I love this unit. And it's cool to see them outside of their homelands, right? So they're evidently chasing these guys. So that's really cool. But yeah, we need to keep an eye on all of that. Okay, nothing revolutionary there. We've got our second unit of cavalry down at the capital. And we do have to decide, with regard to Lastbridge, one more thing, and that is, do we want to go ahead and destroy Homeland Dominion? I think we may as well. Because, again, public order is fine for now. We'll get working on that. We'll get a good governor in here, and we'll develop that. And we've got our dominions built, like, almost everywhere else. We just don't have it done in Fornost yet, but it's so close that it doesn't matter. So let's go for provincial pacification here. We've got so much money to spend due to plunder, which is great. So we could build in Greyholm. We've got our king stationed here. We could build in Tharbad. We could build in 3 ways and benefit from the governor discount. Let's start to sneak this guy over. He's going to be my my captain over in Lastbridge. And, you know, actually, I think I want you down here, just as some backup stuff. But we do need to do something about this irritation at Brie. So I think that's going to be something I do in between episodes. It's a tiny little battle. Maybe what I will do is take this guy down, and Eastern Arthedain. So that is Forno. So he's the governor here, that's okay actually. But we'll get him out. And actually, maybe we should take a captain. Next turn, he'll want to be here because he's attuned. Yeah, he's the attuned governor. Okay, and he's the heir, in fact. But he's still dubious. Oh, we got to give him control, right? I'm going to wait until this is done. I'm pretty sure we built this ourselves, but after what happened in a previous episode, I'm going to wait. You click local governance and it destroys buildings that you didn't build or that provide you no benefits. Sometimes that includes provincial pacification if you didn't build it. I'm pretty sure we built this. I'm like 99.9% sure, but I'll just wait. That'll help him probably tick over from dubious into supportive because it might be enough to give him a little notch. But what we'll do is we'll take advantage of his attuned governor status, and in the meantime, we'll just bring everybody else out of the city here. They're going to march down, and you know what I'm going to do? Let's see, is there anything else I want to do here? I don't think so. We'll oh, that's right. We'll queue up buildings, and then we're going to queue up that battle and see if that's going to be useful. Okay, one more season for provincial courts. So let's try 3 ways here. It might be worth, let's see, going for some more money. Town councils would probably be a good idea. This is going to improve Ways of the West, but we don't have like any councils currently. Ooh, that's not great though. That's because this is a fiefdom, so it's not going to do the land tax thing. It's going to get us a little bit of income it's necessary, on the road to better things. But maybe in the meantime, let's see what land clearance does. 75, 188. That's not great. It does provide some trade. What's that? 4,000. All right. Yeah, let's do land clearance in 3 ways. In Tharbad, we could afford the Lord's Barracks. That's going to get us longbowmen. But let's do carpentry work gangs. So a great tier 2 industry building. The second tier of the timber resource reduces construction costs faction-wide. This is going to have some upkeep, so, but it's pretty small, 1 or 200, and that's going to just pay for itself eventually. So we'll do that, and maybe I'll even go in Greyholm. Now, one thing that I'd forgotten about Tharbad is because they are a Dunedainic faction, they do enjoy a choice of 3 different policy buildings. So they can go military and financial, like every faction can, and they, as well as the Haradrian factions, can also go with admin. And this is going to allow you to build, more of the things like libraries. I think that's required for the second tier. Let's just do a little visit here. Military, obviously, is required for us to get military stuff. So that means currently in Greyholm, we've built as high as we can. If we want to go here, we need a military or open policy. We can't get open because this is not a chief city. So do we really want to be able to train these things? I mean, maybe, because it's another place to do it, but I think Greyholm might be a good place for admin. I don't know, actually. Tharbad is a chief city, so this means we can build everything, right? We've got the open policy, so if we wanted to, we could get our libraries here, and we can, get the... Let's pull that up. That's what I was kind of wanting to show anyway. Second tier of the library requires admin or open, and it gets us ballistas, which are a nice little unit. I mean, they're not, they're not my favorite siege weapon, right? The catapults are pretty amazing in this game, but they are nice to have, I guess, as an option. If you can stand, being slowed down on the campaign map, you can immediately assault, right? But the other reason to do a great library is because it increases law everywhere. And so this is actually really, really handy. And, it might just be easier to get it at Tharbad. The other thing is, because Greyholm's a weird one. And if Webb is still watching, I'd be very curious to see his opinion here. What do you do with Greyholm in terms of policy? Because at first I thought, well, I'll go with admin, but I don't think I want to go with admin because I'm going to need to build major province to get the second tier libraries anyway, right? Which I guess is a good move long term, but it feels, I don't know. So then my other thought is, well, military seems redundant, right? Because we can get all of our stuff out of Tharbad, but then financial also doesn't seem that useful for Greyholm because we're not doing that much in trade. 750 is okay. And we could, with financial, that's going to give us stuff like this level of merchant, right? This and this. So it'll allow us to train scouts, right? We can train scouts in a lot of places now that I'm not concerned about it. I guess Greyholm, to me, is tough to decide because it's so close to the capital that it feels like it's not necessary. But, the more I think about it, the more I think military might just be the option because it's a homeland, And this is the only place, one of very few places that we can get our city longbowmen. So yeah, that might be the option. We go for Greyholm as military. Before I talk myself out of it, I'm going to do that. And we'll just go up the tree. Originally, right, we had kind of earmarked this for just merchant mariner bowmen. But I guess I like the idea of getting our pikemen out of here too. We can build up all of this stuff so that this becomes a great province, like as good as Tharbad, for things like, the pikes and the cav. And this is close to Dunland, so it kind of makes sense that our pikes would come out of here too. All right, Londare is building and Tharbad is building. Okay, so that's everything I wanted to build. And let's send this army down here and see if they're going to fight. And they're not. Okay. So I think what we'll do next time is maybe just eliminate these guys off screen. And when we come back, we'll have to be marching them back up to Fornos probably to help out. And we'll go from there. I think we want to get stuff queued up in Fornost for military or what have you, and then we want to move on to Numenas and be ready to defend all of this stuff. But that's the plan. I'm pretty happy with the progress we're making so far. I hope you stick around for the next episode. Until then, take care.